Here we have an Xbox One X. I talked about this a few days ago when I was working on a PS5. I mentioned that we had an Xbox One X come in for a damaged HDMI controller chip with missing pads. Let's take a look. Actually, when I showed it to you on video, the chip was still on. And I did not want to honestly make a video on this because I thought changing a chip, it doesn't require a video. But then I noticed two missing pads under the chip. And that's why the customer mailed it over. He tried to solder a chip, it did not work. But the reason it did not work is because of those two missing pads. The person who worked on it, whether it's the customer or somebody else, maybe thought that that chip may make a connection with whatever is left over here. But no, that's not the case. It's never that easy. So based on what I can see here on the board, I noticed a missing component, a missing capacitor, and we have two missing pads. And I do not see anything else wrong with the board except for the flux and all that stuff that's left on the board. But that's not a big deal, we can clean it. And it doesn't look like the connector was replaced before. That's factory soldering. And we do not care about this one here, but still, it's factory soldering. The filters, capacitors, resistors, everything is in place. So hopefully, fixing this retimer chip will fix the problem. I just want to look inside the HDMI connector and see if we have any damage, and we do not. So let's focus on replacing the retimer and we should be good. The customer mailed over the motherboard only and not the whole console, but I'll see if Big Boss can possibly get a donor Xbox and try this board just to make sure it's working before we mail it to the customer. We're gonna zoom in a bit so we can see what's going on. And right now we see that we have one trace going to this via right here. And we have one trace going right over here, all the way to that filter. So those two traces are very important. And without them, we're gonna have a problem with the signal. Let's use our grinding pen. And get rid of the glare. And we're gonna put one tiny blob right over here in the center. And while at it, let's do this also. And right now we're gonna grab pad strips number 4. You can find those on our website, NorthridgeFix.com. Click on shop, along with the grinding pen, flux, and all the tools that you need. Now what we can do also, maybe we can grind some more here, right there. Now what we're gonna do is apply UV mask, and we have to make sure the board is super clean before we apply UV mask, because if the board still has flux on it, or debris or dirt or whatever the case may be, then UV mask will come off easy. So we clean as best as possible, and we apply just a little bit of UV mask on our blade here, and we cover the trace. And apply UV light, and the lamp looks something like this. It's currently on, and it will shut off by itself in about 15-20 seconds. I love the lamp because of the cup, the golden cup that you see. It covers the light so it does not spill. UV is harmful if you keep looking at it. It's not harmful for you when you're looking at your monitor, because some people thought, and I had a few comments, why are you exposing us to UV light? Viewers, what can you do? Why are you exposing us to UV light? So if I point my UV light at the camera, the other person on the other side of the world is gonna get exposed to UV light. You have to have patience in this business, a lot of patience. Otherwise, you're not gonna make it. Especially YouTube. You have to have a lot of patience for YouTube, and you have to learn how to ignore. Ignore, ignore, ignore. You learn it. You're not born with patience. Over time, your skin becomes rough. Okay? And now I'm gonna apply just a little bit of hot air. Just a little bit of hot air. Very nice. So we restored 2 traces. What I want to do is tin those pads and make sure those pads have enough solder on them, so that when we solder the chip will make connection with all the pads on the board, including the 2 pads that we just restored. Easy. And now we're gonna grab a retimer chip, and you can find those chips on our e-commerce site as well, along with a lot of other popular chips. We only carry and sell popular chips. We do not sell every chip in the market, but the ones that we tend to use in our shop the most. And we have a large inventory that we are still adding onto the site, because not everything is on the site right now, but for the most part you can find what you need. Pin number 1. Where is pin number 1? Right here, just like that. Match the dot. First thing first, just a little bit of flux. I mean a lot of flux. Right, so the chip is secured, but it's not soldered on yet. It's secured using that middle big pad, the pad that you see in the middle. Middle big pad. Tap, it goes back. Perfect. Now what we're gonna do is press down on the chip. And just like that. Nice. We're gonna keep those solder balls sticking out so we can secure that chip more. Done. I can already hear newbies screaming. Tranquilo, my friend. Tranquilo. I was just talking about patience. And I have the wrong tip on my soldering iron. But where's the tip that you want when you need it? It disappears to the 9th dimension. And then when I'm done with the repair, I'll find it. And we're good. The job is done. I have a donor board right in front of me, right here, and we're gonna grab that cap from the donor board. And then get rid of that donor board, put it on the side. We don't need you anymore. And we're done. Very, very nice. We're good. And I just want to go over those two pads that we restored. I want to make sure the strip is not moving, because the strip should be making a connection with the chip. It should not be moving freely. And look at this. Amazing. We're done. Now Big Boss has about 6 million things on his bench that he needs to get done, but I'm gonna put this on his bench over the pile that he has and hope that he can get to this before we go home so I can finish the video. If not, then that's the video. Okay, we restored the chip and the job is done. Customer mailed this over for retimer chip installation, and that's what we did. If the board has any other issues, our job is done. That's why the board was mailed here. If the customer said my controller is not working, Bluetooth is not working, that's a different job. When you mail it in for a retimer chip and we spend the time to do the retimer chip, and the reason I'm saying this because a couple of days ago we had a customer that came in with a PS4 Slim and he said my fan is not spinning. You know, it looks like the console suffered an impact from the top and the housing was broken and the fan was bent in. So he came in for a fan issue. He said when I turn my console on after maybe 15 seconds, the console goes back off. And the reason for that is because the fan is not spinning and it's not cooling the console, so the console shuts itself off. I told him, all right, so we're gonna take it, we're gonna replace the fan, or we're gonna fix the fan, fix the housing, so that the fan can spin. And if the fan does spin and the system does not shut off in 15 seconds or 10 minutes or 20 minutes, then our job is done. And I make sure I tell the customer what we are doing so that later on they do not come in with a different issue. Oh, well, why is my Bluetooth not working? I do not know why it's not working. You came in for a fan issue and that's what we fixed. So we took it in, we did what we had to do. We fixed the fan is now spinning, and we kept the console on for about 30 minutes. Perfect. We called the customer, come and pick up. The customer came, he picked up, I showed him how the fan is spinning, and he was happy with his son. And then he came back the day after, or maybe 2 days after. He said, the console is not working. You did not do what you were supposed to do. So I told him, what was I supposed to do? He said, fix the console. I said, yes, but what exactly was I supposed to do to fix the console? He said, I don't know. I give you the console and you figure it out. Whatever it needs, you fix it. So I told him, no, when you came in because the system was shutting off after 15 seconds and you came specifically telling me that the fan is not working. So that's what we fixed. He said, I told him, what is the problem? Anyway, I'll take a look. He said that it's showing dual shock. Please insert your controller on the console. I said, so is the system shutting off after 15 seconds? No. Is the fan spinning? Yes. That's what we fixed. I told the customer, did you try another controller just to eliminate the fact that it could be a controller issue? He said, yes, I tried 3 controllers and all 3 of them are not working. The system is not recognizing the controllers. That's a whole separate issue. He said, is that the way it's gonna be now? I said, that's what you told me. I'm not making things up. You go to a mechanic and you tell the mechanic, I want to replace my tires. The mechanic replaces your tires. You take the vehicle, you drive it, and then you find out that your belt, it broke. Or something's going on, your water pump, or whatever the case may be, or it's overheating. You go back to the mechanic. I gave you the car so you can fix it. No, you gave me the car so I can replace the tires. I have nothing to do with the engine. So just have to use some logic. I let the customer go. What can you do? I'm gonna give this board to Big Boss to reassemble and test, and hopefully he can test it by today so we can finish the video and upload it. Okay, I'll be back. Hey, so Big Boss just called up on me. He installed the motherboard, the Xbox motherboard, in one of the Xboxes that we have inside, a donor Xbox. And let's see. If it will work. So everything here is ours except for the motherboard. It's the customer's. And it looks like it's gonna work. Yes, HDMI is transmitting a signal regardless what we see on the screen. We're done. Great. Great. Thank you, Big Boss. Thank you.
Welcome.